Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
916, you're getting down with another fresh out Prison Talk. I get a lot of questions about race in prison, and are you able to talk to other races or hang out? And the answer to that, for the most part, in the state of California is no. Now, I was in the feds. I wasn't in the state penitentiary. But in the feds, there is some interaction because of how it's set up. A lot of people in there were getting money. And so there's common areas that you can converse, like in a law library, sometimes in the unit, depending on how the unit's set up. But there was a couple guys I dealt with on some legal stuff because I was a what you call, I wouldn't say a jailhouse lawyer, but I help people with certain motions, fighting citations, getting back into court on their priors. I would help them file their briefs in court, and I helped a few people get their priors off their record, which in turn allowed them to go and get resentenced to knock time off their original sentence. And one of my clients was this white guy. He had a shaved bald head, was pretty well-spoken. I met him through another white guy that would come into a law library and we would chop it up. I think we both had a mutual interest in cars, and you know, I lived in the Bay Area, so we had that in common. But this white cat came in with his friend, the guy I knew, and he's like, "Big Herc, man, what's up, man? I heard you know, you can help people with filing motions and stuff." I said, "Yeah, you know, I help people." And I had my other assistants with me that would help me. My homie Chef V, you know, he would help me too, do a lot of the typing and stuff. And I'm talking with the guy, and I told him, you know, what the cost was, and he like, money wasn't really no thing. So I asked him, like, you know, what you in here for, you know? And he kind of explained he was in federal prison for making silencers for I want to say AR-15s. And I'm asking him, like, okay, you're making silence for AR-15. What's the point, you know? He said he was doing it actually just to be cool. He had kind of got hooked in with a crowd of people who were really in a lifestyle that was more street orientated. And so he knew how to assemble the AR-15s, and then he knew how to make the silencers. So he started doing it just to do it. Got caught. His family had a lot of money, and he got a slap on the wrist, man. Yeah, this guy, his father owned a winery in the Bay Area. Nobody in prison knew that besides me and maybe his friend that I knew. And he told me not to tell anybody. And, you know, of course I wasn't gonna tell nobody. You know, Chef V knew, but that was it. And I'm looking at this dude, he's like, "Yeah, man, I was doing some stupid stuff, man. I didn't even have to do any of this. I had, you know, money with my family, could be working for the family business, blah, blah, blah." You know, but he wanted to be a gangster. He wanted to be in the streets with these people he was hanging out with, which in all actuality, and not so many words, he said, wasn't in the same class as him as far as his family. He wouldn't have brought them to the family winery, put it that way. And in prison, he had to come off like he was a badass, so he had the little look, kept his head shaved, and he pretended to be part of that social class so he didn't get exploited. Because if guys knew that his family had a winery out there, that they were really doing well, that they were balling, they might have asked him for some things. He might have got pressured. Who knows? These are the type of things in prison you don't want people to know about when you have a certain amount of wealth on the street. And a lot of people that were in there were committing these crimes because maybe they needed to commit the crimes at the time to try to get the money they were getting. They didn't have the family backup plan. They didn't have the family plan. If they had that, they probably would have been doing the crime. But this guy had it and was doing the crime because he wanted to fit in with the dudes he was around to try to impress him. But I don't think he got maybe 5 years or a little bit less. You know, he didn't get a lot of time. He didn't get no decade. And yeah, he told me when he gets out, his pops is gonna put him into business. He'll run the family winery, and he'll never have to worry about any of this stuff. Everything's taken care of for him. And I'm looking at the dude like, man, I would have never been entertaining robbing a bank if my family had a winery. I wouldn't even been around that bullshit. Why would you? I'm like looking at the dude, and he's like, man, I know, his books were fat. He showed me his little, breakdown. He gets the maximum every month. He has a trust set up, so his money's already funneled to his books. He spends the max every month, whatever the max was. I think it was $300 a month. And he had no worries, man. He walking around there like he's hanging out. He was hanging out in prison. He wasn't doing time. He was hanging out. Because when he got out, there was no worries. There was no trying to, figure out how to get a job and where to work at. He was already set. And I just used to trip out. I go back and I'm sitting in that box thinking like, dude, this guy right here, what was he thinking? Every opportunity right there, still opportunities because they didn't write him off. He wasn't a drug addict, so it wasn't like he stole from his family, but he did some stupid stuff. But that's what happens when you're connected. You can get cleaned up and go right back. He's good. So I filed a petition, me and my assistant, Chef V, and I think little buddy, and got his prior. He had some bullshit prior on there. He paid me, and how he paid me was he had his homeboy bring the bag of food, and I had one of my friends, which was Mexican, meet him at like the middle area where all the units came together in the sidewalk and took the bag, and they took the bag from me and put it in, in the cell, and me and him never exchanged anything because he didn't want his homeboy to see him paying a black guy. And of course, I don't want the black guy seeing me get paid from the white guy because these are some of the politics that still are in prison. You got to be, aware. People are watching everything you're doing. What are you doing here? They're in your business. A lot of haters up in there. Everyday haters. So I got paid. His citation came off, his prior. Went back to court. And I never seen the guy again. He probably went to a camp because I was at a medium, and he probably ended up going to a camp. He didn't have no prior record, and he wasn't using the gun in the commission of a crime. I think he just got something small like a manufacturing or something, whatever, possession, but it wasn't anything that was gonna put him in a really high custody level. Yeah, he went back. Said, thank you, man. All right, man. I got, he showed me when he got the petition back from the court. And it's just, now he was just a matter of time. He had, access to a private attorney on the street, but he had heard I can do what I can do. So he had no problem paying me. And then his people on the street handled it from there. But that was my thing in prison, was helping people with petitions, legal petitions. I helped guys with child support. 2255s, a couple other things in there, but yeah, man, this guy went back to court, and who knows? Like I said, I got out shortly after that. He probably went to a camp and got out shortly after that. But he had a winery, low-key, balling, but didn't tell any of his partners up in there. And he's kicking in with the white card, but he didn't tell them he had a winery. You got to be perceptive. Even on the streets, when you're looking at these people, you don't want to tell them everything you got. Some people, you don't know where they're at in life, and that could set them off. They could be triggered by feeling like you have what they feel they deserve. So they have some type of animosity or some kind of emotion going on, and they might want to do something to you because of how you are blessed. So you got to be careful who you share your blessings with and how you put them out there. And especially in prison, it's very grimy. And yeah, I've seen a lot of cats that on the down low, I'm talking with them, and they were balling on the street, but in prison, they act like they straight broke because they don't want nobody tripping off of what they had and where they're at now. Because some guys in prison never had anything. They never counted $4,000 or $5,000. They never counted $20,000. They never been on a boat. They never been on a private jet. They never left the hood. So you don't want to tell these people all the stuff you had and vacations in Europe and all that shit, man. These dudes want to split your wig up in there. So just a little advice, even for you guys on the street, keep some things to yourself unless you're running around with people who have the same, you have or more. Everybody got rollies. Everybody's balling with, six-figure cars, real estate investments, stocks and all that. Then it's no big thing. There's no threat. But to somebody who doesn't have anything, man, that's a wolf, and they could possibly be plotting. Not saying everybody's a wolf, but I'm saying as far as if you're around people who ain't never, and you can tell like by what they're into that they are in that life, you better keep your mouth shut. You better, tread lightly on how you expose yourself, man, because you play, what they say, you play in the mud, you get mud on your shoes, you track it back home, it could be all bad. Big Herc, 916, getting down with Fresh Out. Go to freshoutseries.com, pick up some merch, and represent and share this channel. Let's blow this thing up.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in.
With Fresh Out Ministries, we're doing a new program where we're doing a takeover of a mom-pop cafe or restaurant, and we're doing a pay it forward. So we're gonna offer free meals at this particular restaurant or cafe, mom-pop, for a certain amount of time, and we are asking that you make a donation to pay it forward so that we can continue doing this program for other mom-pop restaurants and cafes, because we know that it's hard times out here. You have a lot of people that talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And so we're actually walking the walk. We've been doing it for over 11 years on social media. We've been getting shadow banned. We've been getting demonetized. So we want to give back, and this is our way of giving back to helping everybody through these trying times with this economy. A lot of churches, they got $100 billion, and you don't see them out here helping the people who are in times of need, but they're still taking in the form of donations. But how's it helping the community? We want to build a community sense where we help each other. We can all overcome. You can't sit around waiting for somebody to save you. You got to save yourself. And this is the way you do it. So by us being able to do these takeovers with Fresh Out Ministries, with the mom-pop restaurants and cafes, we want to be able to film, talk to you guys, get your feedback on what's going on right now in society. Hopefully you guys find it in your heart to donate. This donation, which is a pay it forward, will allow us to do other mom-pops around the country eventually. But right now we're going to be in Southern California and Los Angeles, Orange County. So hey, reach out to your local businesses there. And if you are out of town in another area and you would like us to come there, if you provide the necessary means, we will come there also and do the same pay it forward. But right now, hey, if you're in locally in Los Angeles, Orange County, hit us up, freshoutseries@gmail.com. You can also make a donation
on our link tree on our Instagram at Fresh Out Series.